Welcome, Tarot fam. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. This is our first Wicked Wednesday, and we are going to be exploring the Nancy Guthrie case as of yesterday. Today is Tuesday, February 10th. It is 11:21 East Coast time. Letting you know because I'm dropping this on Wicked Wednesday. But as of right now, there has been no movement on the Nancy Guthrie case. The deadline for the ransom came and went yesterday. Doesn't seem to be any other updates right now. There does seem to be a bit of different activity with the press pool outside of the Guthrie home, Nancy Guthrie's home. But we're going to try and tread very gently here. What I want to do is not predict whether she is still with us or not still with us, but what may have motivated the individual who perpetrated this. So we will be right back. All right, Tarot fam. So you guys know, if you've been with me a while, I really don't like true crime. It kind of sticks with me a little bit too long, but this is something that you all have asked for, and so I am going to jump in. We are going to explore motive possibilities, the emotional state of the kidnapper or perpetrator, and that 40-minute window. So if you're not following the case super closely, there is a 40-minute window between when there's evidence that someone was in the house tinkering with cameras and when they actually left the front door. So they have established that Nancy typically, her and the family, typically use the garage to get in and out. A lot of people do that, use the garage door opener or the keypad there. I know in my family, we have a particular door that we all like to come in and out of. Even though the other one seems a lot easier, I'm the only one that uses the other door. But, we all establish some habits and behaviors that we just kind of keep doing. It's just kind of automatic. So this is a tragic and unresolved case right now. There is an elderly woman missing. My parents they flank the age of Nancy Guthrie. So there is, some emotional quality that I have here. I can't imagine what Savannah and her siblings and the rest of their family are going through. But let's take a look so far. I want to give you some facts just in case. So the key timeline fact, she was last seen, Nancy Guthrie, 84, last seen in Tucson, Arizona, January 31st, 2026. She was reported missing February 1st after not showing up for an expected morning church service. This has been refuted because they're not sure if somebody really did call from the church, because the church services, she hasn't attended since COVID, and the church services were not done in a Zoom format, but there was a chat format in there. So there is a little bit of murkiness there. Blood matching her DNA was found on the porch outside the front door of the home, and the residence was treated like a crime scene. It is my understanding that she also had a dog. We haven't heard anything about this dog, and we haven't really heard much about the interior of the home other than it was in somewhat of disarray. The doorbell camera was disabled. A floodlight was also broken. Her pacemaker monitoring device disconnected earlier that night, suggesting something happened between 1:47 and 2:28. And that's the 40-minute window, both AM. That's the 40-minute window that I do want to jump into a little bit. Multiple ransom notes were reported. Deadlines have passed without verified proof of life or contact. One of the ransom notes has been tied to an individual who was just trying to see if they could get in on it, which is absolutely despicable. The FBI stated they are not aware of ongoing communication with any suspected kidnappers since the deadlines have passed, which is a little bit different. In another video, if you want, we'll take a look at the sheriff who is handling this, who, in my opinion, seems a little titillated with the fame and the attention. Just my opinion. They early on had called in the homicide team, and that typically is not done unless you have evidence that it's been a homicide. So we'll see. Let's look at some motivations that might have gone on here. I saw a really, really interesting program on it where they talked about different motivations for kidnappers and ransom notes. And what it boiled down to was what this particular thought leader said was that it was either financial or sexual, which is very disturbing. So let's take a look. What drove this individual, and we're just going to say individual for now. What drove this individual to this act? What drove this individual to this act? What were the motivations? And do noun, adjective, and I'm sorry, I did not put my screen up. There we go, guys. Noun and adjective. So when we get the Hierophant in reverse, this is typically someone who feels powerless, someone who is trying to create balance here. Power dynamic, which is very strange. So was this individual just strictly energetically motivated? Yes. Was there a money motivation? A little bit, not a lot. I think maybe a crime had, maybe they were looking for something. We'll explore that in a second. A little bit. We'll take a little closer look at this. Money motivation. Did they really, was the initial pain point money? Guys, this is I don't think this is a money motivation. I don't think it is. The wands are very, very charged energy. Let's look at greed versus dominance. We're going to say dominance for this one. Greed, dominance, something they couldn't control. Disappointment, King of Cups. I'm not seeing any pentacles here, kids. I'm not seeing any pentacles. What I am seeing are wands, power, power, power. I'm seeing dominance. Give me a profile, tarot, of this individual. Give me a profile. I want to know young, old, rich, poor, disconnected, disenfranchised, overwhelmed, not in control, again, with that Emperor in reverse, doing something about it, not caring about one's future, mission accomplished. So there was a release of some sort in this particular situation. Guys, I don't think that she's still alive. I'm going to say that right now. I'm sorry that I'm saying that, but I don't think that she's still alive. I think it's the unthinkable. This is why I don't like doing true crime, but I'm doing it for you guys because you asked. So let's look at that 40 minutes. what happened during that 40 minutes. And if this gets really intense, I may just let the cards talk for me. What happened in that 40 minutes? Crimes against the mother. Some kind of slight. So I'm going to say either this individual had an issue with the power dynamic with Nancy Guthrie, or this person had an issue, mommy issue, a la Ed Gein, Charles Manson, any of those kinds. I do believe this person came in sweet and said, I'm just here to rob you. I'm going to go. I'm just going to go. I'm going to take what I need and I'm going to go. Maybe that's where the ransacking came in. Pretending that they couldn't, taking her protestations and saying, here's this. I think she was kind of handing them everything that they needed. This person, not them. I don't know if it's, I'm not reading on whether it's multiple people. Good. We're done now. I'm going to go, but I may come back. If I need something else. It's okay if I come back. Really, that's some sick stuff. And that's when I think there was a request to confine her, saying, I just have to do this because, like, I can't have you call the police as I walk out the door. I have to do this. So you understand? Up until this point, very, very apologetic. Maybe that's why that 40 minutes was quite 40 minutes, because apologetic. And I'm sorry, I have to do this. I have to do this. You're really nice, but I have to do this. And that's when that person went a little apats. That's when the mask came off and the real person came out. And I do think that she was potentially dispatched in the house. I do think she was carried out of the house. I'm going to say that. I think she was carried out of the house, whether she was dispatched already or incapacitated. I think that she was carried out. So in that 40 minutes, I think there was looking for things. I'm just here to rob you. I'm not going to hurt you. But then confined her. And then they did hurt her. I'm so sorry for anyone that is upset by this. That is what I think happened in that 40-minute period. Was this person familiar with the family? Did this person know exactly who they were attacking? Did they know? So I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't know Savannah Guthrie walking down the street. I just wouldn't. Did this person know? No, I think that's why we have an issue right now. I don't think this person has any connection with the family. I don't think they do. Did this person write any of the ransom notes? Guys, I don't think this person wrote any of the ransom notes. I think we have a completely anonymous situation here. I don't think that there's a connection to the family. I don't think that there is. You know, my question, and you guys let me know in the chat what you think about this. How did this person, this perpetrator, how did they destroy the Ring camera without being seen on it? You know, I know my Ring camera records everything. Like, we have squirrels that run by and the camera records it. So, you know, I'm not sure how they could sneak up on that camera and destroy it from a distance. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Unless they had like a slingshot or something, you know, like slingshot, you're not going to hear a report like from a, you know, one of these things. But I do think that there was some kind of projectile that was sent at the front doorbell. I can see there's some kind of projectile. So I don't like, is it silly string? You know, we've all seen that video of the father and son kidnapping the brother-in-law's dog because she had separation anxiety and they sprayed down the camera and silly string, it didn't stick. But there's some kind of projectile that hit that front Ring camera. It wasn't just removed, it was disabled and then removed. So whether that was a rock or, you know, a baseball or something like that, something hit that front camera. The back floodlights, I'm not so sure about, because that seems like a lot of noise. I don't think that happened on the same day. I'm just saying, guys. So I don't think that this is somebody that they know. I don't think it's somebody they know. So what kind of emotional state was this individual in prior to the crime? What kind of emotional state were they in prior to the crime? Not knowing which way to go. What about during the actual break-in? Finally taking some action, gaining some superior power during that 40 minutes. Out of control, information overload, out of control. Exiting the building. I'm smart. I did things the right way. They're never going to follow this. And what about now? Current. This one's confident that they're never going to find the person who did this, and that they're never going to find any evidence of Nancy Guthrie. So without remote viewing on this, because this definitely deserves a more intense remote view. Initially, I am going to say this. I did feel she was inside of a garage. I saw, doing a mini remote view, I saw a garage door open and a vehicle pull in. And so I do think she was in a garage, possibly near a chest freezer at one point. I'm so sorry, guys. Again, I try to be as delicate as possible. Some kind of chest freezer is there. So here's a garage. Here is out in the wilderness. The garage, too close for comfort. Out in the wilderness. Oh, yeah, there is some kind of wrapping around her that feels like a mauvey pink. So I do think that she's wrapped up, but I don't think that she is still with us. I don't think that she's still with us. Will the local police be able to solve this crime? No, they made a lot of blunders in the tradition of John Benet Ramsey and you know, other crimes that have gone unsolved. Um, Martha Moxley, you know, this particular police force, and reference John Benet Ramsey and Martha Moxley because the police forces in those towns, Boulder and New Haven, Connecticut, Boulder, Colorado, those communities had been fairly insulated against violent crimes, and they were ill equipped to manage those crime scenes on their own. And very early on, the crime scenes were contaminated. The Martha Moxley case had been contaminated because they didn't know that she was on the property. There were kids that were walking back and forth. It was mischief night, the night before Halloween. When they had left an officer to guard Martha Moxley's remains after she was discovered by her friend, there was a neighborhood dog who came up and was licking up the blood trail. It was a significant blood trail, but it was literally, as one of the police officers said later on when interviewed by Mark Furman, he said there was a dog that was literally eating the evidence. So it was just a neighborhood dog, you know. In the John Benet Ramsey case, the parents, Patsy and John Ramsey, had called their friends for support, and they were allowed by the police to come right into the house, or I believe some of them had even arrived before the police had gotten there. So the crime scene, I think, was spectacularly compromised. This particular crime scene, it's my understanding they investigated for 2 hours and then released the home back to the family with Nancy Guthrie. It's my understanding. If I'm incorrect on that, please put it in the comments. So I think that they blundered this particular crime scene very, very badly. I think they missed some things. What about the FBI? Are they going to be able to do it? It's going to take the FBI a little bit of time, but I do think that they're going to figure it out. They did figure out Brian Koberger or Coburg or whatever his name is, the Idaho 4 dispatcher, to another terrible person. But, you know, I think when they start to look at the less obvious, the fanciful, I hate to say fanciful, but this, in my opinion, and I hope that I'm wrong, I think this is going to be a very interesting perpetrator. I think this is going to be one that perhaps we find out a lot more information about. And I think that this was the business of kidnapping is just kind of a kerfuffle around it. But I think that the person that committed this crime committed a full crime, if you catch what I'm saying. This was a difficult reading for me to do. I'll get better at it, guys. I want to reiterate that there is currently no suspect named. All of the looks that they are doing have been unofficial. You know, any speculation about this one or that one or family members has been just speculative. You know, I do hope that this gets solved. You know, I do think that when they do find, if they do find Nancy, I think she is going to be degraded remains. I think they're going to find that versus, you know, something that has more substance and something that they can examine forensically. So I think they're going to have some challenges with that as well. But you know, I'm not trying to sensationalize this. You know, I'm not doing this for clickbait. I really did want to do an exploration on it, but I don't think that she is still with us, unfortunately. So we'll have to see. Hopefully there will be some movement on the case. I do think that when things break, it's going to be after dark. So be mindful during the evening hours. Any updates on the news on this one? But of course, lots of thoughts and prayers for the Guthrie family. This is a horrific, horrific situation. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. So until later, I will keep an eye on this. And if there are any updates, I will be sure to jump in with breaking psychic news. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the future.